I tell you what, for this show we're talking about extreme fishing. We're talking about extreme weather conditions and extremely big walleyes. We're on a bay in northern Lake Ontario called the Bay of Quinte. It's known for its great big walleyes, but to get the big walleyes, you've got to be here in late fall. And late fall means one thing, it can be really bad weather. So we're going to be using some tactics for suspended open water fish. We've got two boats out here. Gary's got his son Chase and Steve from Purina. I've got Sheldon over here and Greg in my boat. And we're going to be going for these great big Bay of Quinte walleyes. It's not a numbers game, it's a trophy game. And we're going to show you how to get the next bite.
The constant rain and rising winds aren't exactly proving to be walleye weather, but the guys managed to stand up to the elements long enough to catch a few.
Oh, there they got a fish on.
And establish a pattern.
Good deal, we got a pattern. All right, thanks, nice net.
And while the walleyes might be scarce in all this rain and wind, the sheephead are going crazy, which in turn starts to drive the biters a little crazy themselves.
Look, Mom, dinner.
Following several hours of worsening weather conditions, the biters are forced to call it a day. Back at the cabin, Kavajecz tosses and turns, worrying about how the weather is going to affect the walleyes. So he counts sheep. Sort of. The next morning comes without any improvement in the weather.
So the next bite we will shoot in about anything, but we have now hit 70 to 80 click winds, which is, I don't know the math, but 40, 45 mile an hour. So even though we're pretty tough, we'll pass on today and give her a shot tomorrow.
Fortunately for the guys, day 3 brings tempered wind conditions, sun, and walleyes.
Here's a cloud of fish with a couple nice ones right under here as it zoomed in. This is that same cloud with two nice fish, a couple of littler stuff there. This is what we want to see. There, the inside board, middle board there. Right there in the middle.
Yep.
Yep.
He's there.
Yeah.
He's there.
Hey, you want me to clear this inside the rod?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Get it right out of the way. Go, Greg.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Nice and steady now.
All right. Okay.
Nice and steady now.
I like the looks of that one.
The old board just went. Boom.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wait. Okay, Rio. There you go.
Okay.
She's all yours now. Let me get the net for you here.
Ooh, you cleared that line. Hey, this is going to be a big one. Doesn't like the motors.
I just put it in neutral.
Nice big one. Look further.
Okay. I got him. Right. All right. Look at him. Look at that fish.
He's a good one.
Oh my gosh. Look at that thing.
Boy, he just barely had that bait.
Look at that thing.
My
Oh
goodness.
my gosh. Look at that.
He's a long one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they aren't so long here at the Bay of Quinte, but this one's got length and girth.
Oh, that's a gorgeous looking fish. Look at that walleye.
Come back here, Greg. I'll let you hold this one.
Yeah.
Slide your hand right under the gill here. Oh, not in the gill.
Oh, like
right,
that?
Right there.
Wow.
Look,
Oh!
look at the size of that one. That is a huge,
I've never
huge
had a fish like this. Wow, look
And
at
he
that thing.
fought, huh?
Yes, he did.
Man, oh man.
They turn it on a bit when they get to the boat.
Yeah.
Well, let me put him back in the water, huh? One of the important things to pay attention to when you're out trolling in late fall like this is your speed. Very, very important to figure out what speed triggers these fish to bite. It's not just your crankbait and your depth and stuff, but oftentimes the speed. And more often than not, when the water gets cold and the fall is here, slow is going to be a good thing to do. You know, like for example today, what I'm doing is running my kicker engine, but I'm running it just as slow as that 9.9 engine will go. That's given me speeds here right around 1.2 miles an hour. Very, very slow, just having that bait wobble through the water. Earlier today, when the wind was really howling, we were actually taking this kicker and kicking it in and out of gear, and many times just drifting with the wind. just keeping our boat straight so the boards were out there. So pay attention to your speed. And if I can give you one little tip, in the fall, go slow.
Oh, Steve, this is a good fish. Here, man, go ahead and set that rod down. I'll give you this one. There you go. And then just keep the same bend in the rod. Yep.
All right, got it.
Okay. Got it? Okay, good. Nice and steady, Steve. If he makes his run, just let him go.
Yep, that's what I was doing.
Oh, guys, it's a good walleye.
Holy man. I gotta waypoint this baby. Look at
that. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Wow.
Look how fat he is.
Yeah. Bay of Quinte Behemoth. Is that how you say it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, looks good.
Good deal on more. We're done.
All right.
Okay.
Let's put this girl in the water. There she goes. All right.
Middle board, middle board.
Middle
Over
one,
here,
right here on this side, yep.
Sheldon,
There
you grab
is.
it.
Yep.
Okay. Went back nice.
Oh, that's nice.
That did.
That's nice when they got so much weight that it just comes back into the middle. You don't even got to clear lines or nothing.
Makes it nice and simple that way.
Yeah, that is nice.
Look at how that tail of that board is just dragging in the
Straight
water.
down.
All right. I don't see it.
No. Oh, surfing him in.
The surface, huh?
Yeah.
Skiing in 8-pounders, huh?
Get him out.
Keep
Get him
him
in.
coming.
Get him in.
Keep them coming.
Ooh,
Oh,
no,
look at that.
It's getting a little upset now.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever skied.
got him.
Yeah.
I got him.
I don't think I've ever skied a fish in that big.
I like it. There you go.
There's a nice walleye.
Nice
Wow,
walleye.
very nice.
Not as big and beefy as some of the ones you catch up here, but I mean, you
Still
go anywhere
very
else in the North America and you'd be
Oh, man.
being happy to catch that
Yes.
one, but
You got it.
Quinte, you're like, yeah.
If any starts shaking those off, throwing them back.
Man, yeah.
Get him in now.
Just leave it right over here. I'm sure in the school water it'll be fine.
Oh, we got a double, guys.
Oh yeah, we got a double.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Go get him, buddy.
Oh,
I can't even get him into the boat.
Go ahead, Chase. Take care of this fish. We got to get Steve's. This is unbelievable. You get a 12-pound fish in the net, and you got to make room for it. Go ahead. Go get the fish. I'll get his board. Yep. Throw him in the live well quick.
Okay, I'll throw him into the live well.
Oh, look, Gary's got one on.
You ready with the
Chasing.
net now? I'm going to put reverse on him.
Looks like an all right one.
another one. Yeah. Woo.
Fishing can be a struggle at times. And you search and you search, but if you can put the program together, especially with this trolling, it just explodes sometimes with fish like this. Oh, and
the one that's in the well.
And the one in the net.
and little ones like this. Oh man, oh man.
The real deal. Straight talk to make you a better fisherman. Brought to you by Bass Pro Shops.
Here at the Bay of Quinte, we're working with extremely clear water, you know, probably 15, 20-foot visibility, and that has some advantages and disadvantages. The advantage to it for us anglers is that the fish can see a long way, so our crankbaits running down there don't have to be in a super precise area, we can get them in a general zone. In this case, we're running down about 25, 30 feet down. And those fish, even though they might be, the baits are running in 25 or 30 feet, those fish sitting down in 40, 50, and maybe even 60 feet can still see those baits running over them and swim up and get them. So when you do come out and fish a clear water situation like this, always make sure you watch your depth finder, fish at or above the marks you're seeing. Now the disadvantage with real clear water is that the fish will actually spook. Oftentimes we even see it on the depth finder, a fish streaking down, a line going down on that depth finder. So to combat that, what we use is the small inline planer boards. They get the baits out away from the boat, which is real important for that spooking. And the other advantage we get from that is that we're covering a lot of water. So there's advantages to fishing in clear water. The fish can see your lures a long way away. They'll come up, swim up, and hit them. There's disadvantages. There's going to be spooking. But if you use those inline planer boards, you're going to catch a lot of walleyes and maybe a Quinte monster.
Sight Bites. Answers to questions from the Next Bite website. Brought to you by Purina.
You know, dogs make great fishing partners. They never steal your baits. You just have to make sure you bring plenty of dog treats with. This week's Sight Bite question comes from one of the guys that wants to know what's the advantages to some of the new big Verado engines.
We're down here at the Verado plant down in Fond du Lac and just looking around at some of the high-tech stuff, and I'm here with Steve Miller, and we're going to talk a little bit about why this engine is so reliable and bulletproof.
Well, one of the things we're standing in front of here is what we affectionately call Big Red. He's got one job in this whole company, and it's one of the most important. Big Red's job is to torque down the 14 long bolts that run through a 6-cylinder Verado. They're probably the 14 most important bolts on this entire engine. They run through the cylinder head, through the block, and into the bed plate. They keep Verado's block in a constant state of compression. This is very important for a supercharged engine, and it creates some of the reliability that you're seeing out in the field today. Yeah, this is what we call our torque and turn test. It's what we call an in-process validation point on the Verado line, and there are several of them. Basically what it means is when we start to put Verado together, we build a little bit, then we send it through an automated test to make sure that it passes a series of criteria, and then if it does, it moves on to the next point. We build a little bit more, it goes through another test. The torque and turn test basically is a test that cycles through the movement of any moving part within the engine. So we cycle the crankshaft, the pistons, connecting rods, and bearings, and to make sure all of those things are built and they're fitting together within the right tolerances. They're not too tight, they're not too loose, they're just right before it moves on to the next stage of assembly.
Another big machine, huh?
Yep, we're getting to the end of it though. This is what we call our cold spin test, and it's one of our last tests before we send the engine on through to get the cowls put on and get boxed. And basically what this test does is it's actually cycling the engine without actually burning gas and running it. We're actually pushing air through it, and by doing that we're testing all the moving parts, we're testing all of the electrical systems on there, the alternator, the sensor function, basically everything one last time to make sure it's all perfect before it goes on.
Well, this is the end of the line. It's all put together and in the final test.
That's right. This is what we call our hot test area. We hot test 100% of the Verados before they go out the door. So the bottom line is we run the engines before you do, and if we're not satisfied, they don't leave here.
And I tell you what, as many Verados as I've run, I'm super satisfied. You guys
That's awesome.
have built a great engine.
Thank you very much.
You want that? You know, on the Next Bite website, you not only get answers to your questions, you can read the forums, read articles, tips, all great information to help you get your next bite. You want your next bite, Rex? Yeah.
Fish, fish, fish!
You got one? All right.
I think I'm gonna take this one.
Here you go, Steve.
All right, let me get this reeled in.
I'll get this one.
Okay, Chase, start to bring them.
Pig! Pig!
Oh my! My pretty, my little pretty. Wow. Look how thick they are.
Look how fat.
It's like, oh my.
I think I'm really starting to like this place.
Wow. Well, let's get them back in.
Hey, there's a fish on here. There's a fish on here. Want to grab this board here, Sheldon? Feels like a great fish. Can you get it?
Yeah. Okay.
Staying straight down, isn't it?
It's staying right down, yeah.
Nice rod bend. This one was only out 75, I think. Get that net, Sheldon. Okay. He's a good one. Come on this way.
Oh my gosh, look at that thing.
Gosh, is that a big fish? Can you get him, Sheldon? Yes! To get a bigger net. Look at that. Oh, right in here. Oh, look at that. Oh,
Get that line.
oh my gosh.
Look at the size of that walleye.
I mean,
Wow.
it's like a lake trout in size.
It's unbelievable.
Look at here. My fingers don't go around the bottom. Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
14, 15.
Look at that thing. Oh, man.
You know what? I've only seen one like that. If it would have had one more of these babies, it would have been 15 pounds. Unbelievable. I mean, this is exactly what you come to the Bay of Quinte for right there. I mean, there's a lot of great walleye fisheries in North America, but nothing like that.
What are you doing?
Hi, my name is Keith Kavajecz. I'm president of the Sheephead of America Foundation. The sheepalingi are commonly referred to the sheephead, are one of our favorite species to come out here on the Bay of Quinte.
I pity the person who gets this one. I ain't gonna touch it. I'll leave this to the experts.
Great, there's one that probably won't pass the test now.
I didn't do anything. I didn't touch it. Work, work, work. Incoming, shark coming.
For accommodations on your Quinte adventure, check out the folks at Merland Park Cottages and Motel. For professional and reliable Ontario guiding service, contact Sheldon Hatch of Izilo Outdoors.